Hello to, oh my goodness, there are 9 people watching. That is quite 1524, oh my goodness, the numbers are jumping up. Well, hello, my name is Lara MacDonald and I play Holly Short in Disney's now released newest film, Artemis, Fowl, which is streaming exclusively on Disney Plus and Hotstar for those of you who do not have Disney Plus. Hello, welcome to the very first live after Artemis Fowl has been released. This is madness. I personally cannot believe that Artemis Fowl is now out for everyone in the world to see, and I'm not sure if any of you can believe it either. So I hope most of you have watched the film, and I've received so many lovely messages, so thank you all so very much. It's so lovely to hear that so many people are enjoying the film as much as we enjoyed making it, because we absolutely loved making it. We had the most fun. So thank you so much to everyone who's watched it and who's sent lovely messages to not only me but to Ferdia, to the Artemis Fowl account in general, to any of the cast members. Thank you for your lovely messages. We love it. So hello, I'm going to be doing a live today and I have something very special for you. So for those of you who do not know, I have done this is my 3rd live, so welcome. And so I've done 2 of these before, and both the times I've done Q&As. So I'm going to be doing another Q&A today, and I have some very special guests coming in later. So as of right now, it is currently 33 minutes past 8. So until 8:15, you are free to ask me any questions you want, and then we can talk about whatever. I'm so excited to talk more about the film. That is what I am most excited about, but I'm very excited to answer all of your questions. And then at 8:45, Tamara Smart, who plays Juliet Butler, will be joining us, and I will be asking her some questions of my own, and a lot of the questions that I had already prepared were the questions that you guys wanted to know, so do not worry. And I also have loads of your questions, so if you asked a question on my story, I have loads on my phone here. So, and then at 9 o'clock, Ferdia Shaw, who plays the Artemis Fowl, will be joining us, where I will also be interviewing him and also asking him your questions. So keep the questions coming in, keep the comments coming in, because I love seeing it and I love seeing all the hearts rising. So thank you all so much for tuning in. So I have loads of questions here that were already asked, and keep firing questions and I will look up and I will see what questions you guys are asking me. Okay, so how was your premiere? So basically, unfortunately, because of the current situation throughout the world, we were all unable to go to a film premiere for Artemis. Artemis, it will not be in cinemas, which is really, really sad and disappointing. But at the same time, we are all so happy you guys are getting to watch it. And the most important thing is that everybody is safe while they're watching it, which is all we want in the world, that you're able to enjoy it and be safe. It's a win-win. So I'm very lucky. My family did the sweetest thing for me yesterday. We had our very own DIY homemade premiere, and I got all dressed up. I did my makeup, I did my hair, and my family all got dressed up, and we all sat in the sitting room and watched it together, and we made a very big deal out of it. So that was lovely. So thank you. It was amazing. Thank you for asking. What was your favourite part about filming? That's a very good question. Sorry, I should read out who these are from. So the first question was from Chiara Venn, and then the second question is from Amy Platt. So my favourite part of filming was definitely the amazing cast and crew. I mean, I got to work with the most amazing cast, like Judi Dench, Josh Gad, Colin Farrell, and the amazing crew, which included Kenneth Branagh as a director. So getting to work with such an amazing cast and crew that then became like my family was 100% my favourite part of filming. I made friends for life on that film, so definitely. I'm going to look at some of the questions we're getting in here because I can see them popping up. Favourite book moment with Holly, and that's from, oh yes, it's Mira, and she works at Artemis Fowl Confidential. So my favourite book moment with Holly, I have so many. Holly has so many cool moments, which I definitely think she has so many cool moments in the movie, especially in the books as well, because there's 8 fabulous books in which I get to have which Holly gets to have cool moments in. I'm not really Holly, unfortunately. I wish, but I'm not. My favourite book moment with Holly, not a lot of people know, she actually does punch him in the first book. So reading that, I was like, haha, yes, justice. But she's so many amazing, like, cool moments. Like, she's such, like, Owen Colfer described her as like a maverick, and she's rebellious, and she's definitely a maverick. Any moments where she's flying and any of her sarcastic comments, they just, they're the best. Holly is so witty, and she has the best sarcastic quips. So definitely, anytime she's, you know, one of my favorite quote of Holly's, and she has loads, but it's, "I'm the crazy girly captain, remember." That is my favorite quote of Holly's. I just think it's perfect. Okay, I'm going to go back to looking at my phone and my notes to see your lovely questions. Do mangoes shake? Sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation. What was your favorite scene of the movie? Very good question. My favorite scene, this is such a bad answer, but I loved every scene that I was in Artemis, for 100 different reasons, whether it be I loved what lines I was saying, I loved the pace of everything, I have fond memories of filming that scene, or I'm with an amazing cast when I'm filming that scene. Yeah, there are just so many amazing scenes. I mean, the one where I got to punch Ferdia sticks out. That was a pretty swell scene, if you ask me. I was pretty chuffed with that, not gonna lie. Ferdia wasn't so thrilled with it, I'm sure. He'll pretend he was, but I mean, I really milked that punch. I did it multiple times. Ella Connolly asks, was it hard not being able to have a launch for the movie as planned because of lockdown? It was a little bit disappointing, but I think with everything that was happening in the world, it is so much more important that everybody stays safe, and that is the top priority. And if people get to see the film while they stay safe, I mean, that is all that matters. That is a complete win-win. So it was a little bit disappointing because I wanted to be able to talk about the film at like a real life press junket and everything, but I'm very lucky that we live in a great age of technology, and I got to do a virtual press junket, which is also very, very cool. And I got to watch the film with my family, and I got to share it with all of you, and that is, at the end of the day, what we wanted to accomplish for this film, and we did. So, a bit disappointing, but also just as exciting. Sorry, I'm scrolling through your questions. What's your favourite movie? That's a very good question. I have a top 3. I'm a huge film buff. I watch so many films. Way too much if you ask me. My top 3 favourite films. I have to give a top 3. I couldn't pick a number 1. My top 3 favourite films. I love classic films. So I would have to say Casablanca and Citizen Kane. And then to completely mix that up, Mrs. Doubtfire. I love Mrs. Doubtfire. It's one of my favourite films of all time. Robin Williams is just so beautifully hilarious, and oh my goodness, so incredibly talented. I've loved him for I don't even know how long, and definitely Mrs. Doubtfire, Citizen Kane and Casablanca. So you've got Casablanca and Citizen Kane, 2 legendary movies, and then, I mean, Mrs. Doubtfire is a legendary movie too, just maybe not for the same reasons. If you could fly anywhere, would it be in Haven City or above ground? That's a good question. You see, although Haven City is underground, I'm very curious to see what the rest of the world looks like, because although we see like the metropolis in the film, that is like where the LEP station is, and like where a lot of like the main city part, I want to know like where does everybody live, where are the houses. So I really would love to explore Haven City. Yeah, I'm going to have to say Haven City as opposed to above ground, because hopefully once everything is semi back to normal, we will be able to travel and see the rest of the world. But I mean, none of us will ever get to see Haven City, really, unfortunately. So I would have to say Haven City, because I'm not going to pass up an opportunity to explore a fairy world. Colleen McGarren, I probably butchered that pronouncing, sorry. Colleen McGarren, was it scary working with the likes of famous actors like Josh Gad? It's not scary per se. I was really nervous meeting them in like the best way possible. I was just very like, I was buzzing. I just couldn't wait to meet them, let alone work with them. I've been huge fans of Kenneth Branagh, Judi Dench, Josh Gad, Colin Farrell. I mean, everybody in this movie is an absolute legend. The cast is incredible. So I was nervous to meet them. And then when I did meet them, I realised like how lovely they are, and I couldn't wait to be with them more. And that was definitely the case with Josh and Judy and Ken, because when I first met Ken, I love the Harry Potter films. As many of you know, I adore the Harry Potter films. So I knew Kenneth Branagh as from playing Gilderoy Lockhart in The Chamber of Secrets. And I couldn't believe he was in front of me. And of course, he's directed these legendary movies and he's a legendary actor. So I couldn't believe that he was going to be directing me, of all people. Like, this girl from Dublin, I couldn't believe he was going to be directing me. And then, like, I became more comfortable with him because I was seeing him every day and he was so incredibly lovely to me and he really made me at ease and comfortable. And it was the same with Judy and Josh. And when I first met Josh, I went bright red and lost the ability to speak, which Ferdia can testify for because he was there. And I just, like, was like, okay. Like, could not speak at all. No words, nothing. And then when I met Judy, I cried. And it's so overwhelming meeting these absolute legends and people that you've looked up to for so long. But then when you see them every day and they're so lovely to you and you realise how lovely they are, you do become like a family. And we became very relaxed and they always made sure to put me and Ferdia and Tamara and all of us like young actors at ease. Because I think everybody on set, you're always going to be intimidated only a tiny bit by like Judi Dench. Like, you're going to be acting with Judi Dench, like, that's nerve-wracking, but she always made sure to put you at ease and she was so funny and lovely that you were definitely so comfortable around her. Tam is going to be joining in 2 minutes, so I'm going to finish up with a few questions. Luca Tahini, excuse my pronunciation, how did it feel to put on the LEP suit for the first time? This is such a cliche answer, but I genuinely felt like I became Holly. I could not believe it's a beautiful costume. It is so intricate and the details, like, Sammy Differ created such a beautiful costume for everybody. I mean, have you seen the scenes in Haven City where everybody's walking around? I mean, that's just a whole nother level, is seeing all those costumes and the hair and makeup and everything. And I absolutely loved my costume. I always pictured that as the LEP costume and the LEP like uniform. So getting to wear it, I mean, I definitely felt like I was stepping into Holly's shoes. I have time for one more quick question before I invite Tamara Smart in. How did you get into acting? I got into acting simply because my friends were doing it. It was a little thing after school, like right beside my school, they were doing an acting class and I wanted to be with my friends, and that was genuinely it. I wanted to hang out with my friends and didn't even know what acting was. So I just, went to this class and immediately I realised how much I adored drama and the performing arts and acting. I'd always been filled with like creativity and I loved using my imagination, so acting was the perfect outlet for me. And I just kept doing more classes and everything and putting loads and loads of work into it and making sure that I gave it 110%. And sure enough, soon I started going to auditions and I got a part in Love, Rosie. I was in one scene, but it was my first ever film. And then I got a role in Matilda the musical, which was incredible because I had grown up loving Matilda the musical. So it has just continued from there. But I would definitely say if you want to get into acting, which was a really big question that I think all three of us received, was how do you get into acting if you want to pursue this? Go to drama classes, join film clubs, take a huge interest in it, because you'll start to realize there's so many aspects of film that you either might prefer or enjoy, but if you're really focused on acting, you have to give 110%. And if auditions start to come up, go to open auditions, go to open calls, experience these experiences. And when you go to auditions, learn your lines, give 110%, because if you try your absolute hardest and your best, then you can't do anything else. If you don't get cast, all you know is that, well, I tried my best. And that's, at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for, is that you try your best. So if you wanted to get into acting, join clubs, join classes, like take a real big interest in it, because it is a lot of work, but it is 100% worth it when you get that yes from an audition. I'm seeing the time and I'm going to try and find Tamara Smart, if she's on here. Again, I've never gone live with anyone before. So I see her. Okay, this is going to be really fun. I'm really excited to see Tam personally. So I'm trying. I've never done this before. So
Hey!
Hi! How are you, lovely?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. This is so weird, but I'm very Tam and I have not seen each other in a very long time. I think when was it at reshoots, I want to say?
Reshoots, I think.
Yeah, we have Tamara and I have not seen each other for a year, which is
wow
to think about, but I miss her very, very much.
I miss you too.
And for the like 0 people that don't know, this is Tamara Smiley. She played Julie Butler in Artemis Fowl, and I'm going to be asking Tamara a few questions, and send in your questions and I will be giving them to her to annoy her very much so. So thank you, Tamara, for doing this with me. It is very...
Thanks for inviting me. I'm so excited.
No, I'm very excited. So I have to ask, did you watch the film yesterday?
Yes, yeah, I did. I did a whole premiere. I spent the time with family. My mum actually bought a red carpet so we could take a load of pictures. So I'll probably post pictures, and yeah, it was super fun. Did you? What did you do?
Yeah, we did. That is crazy. We did the exact same. My parents also bought me red carpet. The market for red carpets must just be excelling at this point.
I know, right?
Yeah, we also had a little premiere, so it was really lovely. Definitely a bit sad that we didn't get to all have our day together, but
I know.
We'll all meet up together very soon when the world is back to normal.
Yes, we will.
I'm going to be asking you some questions, and if I'm annoying you, just tell me to stop. So, how did you get into acting? That was a question that a lot of people wanted to ask.
Okay, so I've been a performer all of my life. I danced since I was 3 years old, and I've sort of been with a school. And when I was 9, I got invited to do a bring a friend day to a theatre school. You just did it on Saturdays. You did about 3 hours where you did obviously singing, dancing, and acting. And I loved it, and I went back, and I've always sort of had this like need to like perform in front of people, and it's just sort of been like my thing, and I loved when people watch me dance or sing, or you know, and so I loved it. And a couple months later, I had an opportunity to audition for an agency, so I auditioned for it, and I sort of just started by doing little things, and then it just grew to bigger things, and here we are.
And now you're in a Disney film. So if anyone's wondering, this worked. We're clearly works. So just go to your classes, go to your clubs. Works, I promise. And so you've played so many amazing roles. Like, even you say you started off in little things, but you've done some incredible roles. You have been in The Worst Witch, which I'm sure so many people recognize you from. Watched when I met you and loved, like even as at the time 14-year-old girl, and I've definitely rewatched it many times since then. I love it. Incredible. And you've done Juliet, you've done so many amazing roles. So what has your favorite role been, and why?
That's such a hard one. I guess they've all been my favorite, because obviously when you pick a role, it's a really special thing. So I think I've all loved them for different reasons, but I think Juliet was especially special because it was my first movie role, and so that was quite a big thing for me. So I guess I have to say the most significant one right now has to be Juliet.
Good answer. Okay, so you're welcome. If you act, or if you could not perform, like as you say that you love to, if you couldn't do that for whatever reason, what would you want to do? Or would you have any clue whatsoever if you couldn't perform?
I think I would love to definitely still work in the film industry, but if I couldn't do that, I think I would be an artist, maybe, of some sort. I'm a very artsy person. Like,
I believe you.
Yeah. But if I had to do something like academic, I think I'd want to be a doctor or something, or, you know, work in pharmacies or something like that. I always, when I was younger, I wanted to be a microbiologist, so I wanted to be able to, you know, mix, as I said, mix medicine and, you know, cure cancer and all that. So yeah, I'd love to do that.
As you do.
You know, every day.
You know, in between roles, you heard it here first. Tam will be curing many diseases in between her acting roles. You heard it here first. A miracle worker. You heard it here. Okay, so for those of the like 3 people on here who for some reason have not seen Artemis Fowl or read Artemis Fowl, could you just tell us a bit about your character, about Juliet?
Yes, so Juliet is part of the Butler family who have served the Fowls for hundreds and hundreds of years. And Juliet sort of brought in for some backup against the fairies, and at first she doesn't really believe in magic, but then obviously movie progresses, and she kind of has to, because she
here
needs
quite quickly. It's proven.
Holly. Yeah, everything happens very quickly. Holly comes in. But yeah, she's very quick-witted. She's very strong. She's very level-headed. And she's a very experienced person for a 12-year-old.
Definitely, I would have to agree. She's quite an impressive individual, is Julia.
Yeah, I think so.
So, what is your favorite thing about Julia? And what was your favorite thing about Julia, like as a character? And then, what was your favorite thing about getting to play her?
Ooh,
He's here.
Okay, so I've got to say the thing I love the most about Julia, I think that she's empowering. I think she's a young woman who has been sort of been brought with a problem, and she sort of just, you know, tackles it, and she does something about it, which I think that many kids that are our age think that they don't have a voice and they can't do things about things. So I think she's a very inspiring character. And my favorite thing about filming or sort of just playing Julia has to be like living out my stunt career, you know, just being able to do most of my, I cannot claim that I've done all my stunts because I'm not that good, but I think being able to do,
she's able to do archery, like this girl, she can do it all. You did a fantastic job at it, like, I mean, incredible. So you got to learn so many new skills. So what was your favorite one to learn?
I have to say kendo, because the scene, that was my favorite scene. I have to say, one of my favorite stunt scenes to film, because it was really cool learning the new sequence. And yeah, I think it was just kind of cool how this 12-year-old like almost beats this huge 6'4" massive hunk of a man. I think it's just
100%. I mean, if anyone can do it, it's Tamara. I fully so I mean, Nonza better watch out. Okay, so I have a question from Charlotte16507, and she asks, if you could be any other Artemis Fowl character except Juliet, who would you be and why?
That's a hard one. I think I'd have to say probably Mulch, because he's just awesome. Like, he can tunnel everywhere. I think that's pretty cool. And probably Holly. I feel like it's just cool. Like, it's being like an LEP officer, being able to come into the human world, but also see the world underneath and fly around and fight trolls and just, you know, overall be this really cool person. He's just 84 years old, but looks 14.
Looks great. That's definitely something I have to say was personally one of my favorite things, like throughout all the books, is like you see throughout the books, Julia and Holly, they have like loads in common. And like throughout the, like near the end of the books, the two of them are just like, oh, Artemis and Butler are so annoying. Like, what are they? And Leah and her are just like this. And that is one of my favorite relationships in the whole thing. Because they're so similar, apart from being, you know, a fairy. Apart from that, twins. So what has been your favorite scene that you have seen in the film? Or if not that in the film, what was your favorite scene to like film, like at all?
Okay, so I feel like I have to answer this as a two-part question.
Go for it.
I'd say my favorite scene to see was probably the troll scenes, because obviously it wasn't there, so I think that was really cool.
Sorry to everyone who didn't know. Trolls.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Wasn't a real troll.
Yeah, I think it just adds to the excitement, you know? You just finally see something that, you know, wasn't there. And I sort of love seeing your trip, like, to Italy. I love the setting there, because obviously I hadn't seen any of the scenes, so I love that. That was really cool. My favorite scene to film has to be the troll scenes. I mean, that was like the huge segment, and yeah, I've got to say that was just the funnest scenes. Yeah,
absolutely mad, but it was loads of fun.
It was loads of fun.
So much fun. Okay, so now moving away from Artemis, unfortunately, because we're kind of closing on 15 minutes. So I just want to ask, how are you doing in lockdown? Because we haven't seen each other in a year and the world is a crazy place. So how are you doing? And like, what have you been up to keep yourself busy while stuck in lockdown?
Yeah, I've been good. It's been pretty hard and quite weird. Obviously, this happens really quickly and it's like weird stopping school and everything. But I've been good. Yeah, it's things to keep me busy. I've been doing a lot of schoolwork. I think that takes up most of my time nowadays. But apart from that, I've been doing a lot of painting. I feel like I've restyled half my bedroom painting things. Um, I feel like I'm doing a lot of drawing, a lot of artsy stuff. I feel like I've been doing a lot of art. I think I've been getting really messy and sort of just like experimenting with different kinds of art for fun. Because
So might as well. So
yeah, and I used to be a really artsy person. I sort of like lost it when I started filming like new things, and it sort of just stopped. So it's been fun kind of getting back into that. I've been reading a lot. I've been it was corn streaming. I've been corn streaming many things.
That's a new one. Okay, that's a new one.
Yes. I heard it the other day and I was like, I love it. It's my new favorite word. It's the word of the day.
Heard it here. This is the exclusive. Tam has come up with a new word, and everyone's going to use it now. So you heard it here first. Quarantine streaming. So I think we've all been doing a lot of that. And like, if you have, like, I mean, now's the time to stream Artemis Fowl. Like, that's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah. So watch it.
Have it. You somehow haven't. Okay. So then, how are you feeling about everything that's going on in the world? Because the world is like absolutely crazy at the moment. So how are you feeling about everything?
I'm feeling right now pretty empowered by what's going on. But when I found out about the death of George Floyd, and obviously the stories of so many others, because it wasn't just him, but I was really shocked, and I was really hurt and devastated by it. And I stand in solidarity with everyone who's doing something about it. And I think it's so important right now to be using, as actors, our platforms, and using our voices, and using everything around us, signing petitions, doing as much as you can as kids and as young adults, to make change, because this is super important right now, so that it's not something that can happen again in the future.
100%. Yeah, we definitely, I think, especially with everything that's going on in the world, the fact that we're in lockdown as well. I mean, this is to use your platform, use social media, and use this time to educate yourself. I mean, I don't know when is, so definitely make sure to do what Tam is saying. Tam is being amazing. She's using her social media platform, sign petitions, do whatever you can, because like Tam says, we have to do something about this. So Tam, thank you so much for speaking to me. It was so lovely to see you.
You too. Yeah, we have to do, I was thinking we should do like a Zoom call with all the cast or something. We could, rehash memories, have some fun. Yeah.
100%. So that's a reunion is in the works.
Reunion, it's in order. It's in
virtual.
Order. Yes, well, virtual.
Thank you so much for chatting with me, Tam, and I hope you're doing okay. Hope you're well, and I'm sending lots of love. And everyone, go and check Tam's account, because she's doing some amazing things. She's so cool projects coming up, and of course, she is Juliet Butler and Artemis Fowl. So make sure to check out her account, Tamara Valerie Smart. Thank you so much for joining me, Tam.
Thank you.
Lots
Bye,
of love.
Mom.
Lovely.
Bye.
Bye. So everyone, that is Tam, and she is gone. And I really hope you enjoyed my little attempt at an interview with her. Love her so much. So thank you all so much. If you tune in to see Tam, I'm very excited for now. So I'm going to be bringing Ferdia in now. I'm also going to be asking Ferdia your questions and some of my questions. So we shall get started once I find Mr. Ferdia Shaw. I see him here. Okay, so I'm now waiting for Ferdia Shaw, and he's being added in, and so we're going to say hello to Artemis Fowl in a minute. So this should be very interesting. This is my second, and I have a Ferdia Shaw.
How's it going?
So everyone, in case you somehow do not know for some berserk reason, this is Ferdia Shaw, and he plays Artemis Fowl in Artemis Fowl. So, Ferdia, how are you?
Good. How are you?
That's good to hear. I'm very good. Thank you for asking. It's always good to hear that you're good. So I have a bunch of questions here that I really want personally. I'm dying to know. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and I have some fan questions here as well, and it will just be for 15 minutes. We'll just have a bit of a chat. So you play Artemis Fowl, which is an incredibly cool character to play. I feel like definitely there are so many cool characters in Owen's book, but like, even though Artemis is incredibly irritating, everybody loves him. So what is your favorite characteristic about Artemis?
Like, I really like Artemis. I like the way that you kind of follow him through the story. You kind of follow him through his plan, and at the end, there's this big reveal of what he's been doing all along. He's kind of like Sherlock Holmesy in that way.
100%.
So I really like that about him. He's got some great lines in the book as well. So yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. One of my favorite lines of Artemis is personally amongst his witty quips is "I don't like lollipops." That was just.
It's total fan favorite.
I mean, it's like literature at its finest, if you ask me. One of his best responses. So
Yeah.
Artemis is a pretty cool character, but if you could play any other character in the books, who would you want to play and why?
I think like Mulch. I don't know.
You
Like
see, yeah,
he's a cool character.
definitely.
I think he's really funny in the film too.
Yeah,
I think Josh
all
just does
Josh.
such a good job with him,
That's
so,
all Josh.
yeah,
And
like
just-
I couldn't imagine anyone else playing him. But
I really-
if I wanted to play a character, it would be Mulch.
I see it. You're the next
Hell
Josh.
yeah.
Yeah, totally see
Yeah.
it. You're practically twins. I mean, clearly. Okay, so what was your favorite scene to film, and why was it your favorite scene to film?
Like I was watching Tamara's, and I completely agree with her. And I think everyone does. The troll scenes were just the best.
I think they're fun.
Like
that.
we just had such great fun filming them.
We did.
I liked filming on the one wheel as well. That was really good fun. Just doing all the preparation for that. We used to just like take total time out of school just to like do PE. That was great fun.
Fantastic. And like props to you, because whenever we go to stunt training, I'd go off and I'd be doing my training to do flying, and Ferdia would be doing his one wheel. And one day I remember I'd finished my training early, and Ferdia was on his one wheel, and they said to me like, "Oh, do you want to go?" And Ferdia helped me on the one wheel, and I don't know how he does it. That is the most difficult thing I've ever tried to do in my entire life, and I've flown. So like props, because that's hard. So what is your favorite behind the scenes memory? Because we were there for like 6 months. So what is your favorite behind the scenes memory?
Like, you know, I think, well, basically like all the scenes with Josh, because you're just laughing all the way through them after retake after retake after retake. You be doing all that. I really liked when this isn't a behind the scenes, but the stunt team got a table tennis table at one point, and we used to make tournaments, which was really, really cool. So I had really good fun doing that.
Very seriously, as you can tell, with our table tennis tournaments. And then, of course, that was our school time. So, you know, we were really educated that year. Well, I mean, we did great. Our PE was off the charts that year. I'm just saying. I mean.
Yeah, I came back and I was just straight in, you know? Everyone was behind.
They were like, how did you do this? Whoa. We did an interview together, and one of the questions we were asked was like, what's something that we don't like, you don't think a lot of people know about each other? And I don't know if anybody else knows this, but you said you're interested in like loads of aspects of film, which I also remember when we were there. So what other aspects of film are you interested in? Are there any favorites, like cinematography or editing or anything? What are your passions of film?
Yeah, I'm really into editing actually. I did a lot of that. I'm really, really into editing. I do all different types though. I like to do animation as well. So I do a lot of drawing. I like to just do, I remember when I was younger, me and my friend, we made like a lightsaber video together. And it was really long, so it took really a long time because you had to attach the lightsaber to the sticks that we were using and then just take it all the way through. So it's pretty boring, but it's just something that I like. I like directing too.
I've seen some of said editing, and it is incredibly impressive. So like,
Thank you.
Like Ferdia learned the most. So I mean, Disney not only loves Ferdia because he's Artemis, but also they'll be hiring him soon as an animator. So the next Pixar film you see, Ferdia did it.
Happy days.
I mean, you're doing great, aren't you? Disney. So if you could take part in any project, what would it be? Whether it be your ideal acting project, a role you would love to take on, or whether it would be editing or directing, or like, what would your dream project be?
I think TV is actually at a really high standard at the moment.
100%.
So yeah, like I've been watching Breaking Bad, Peaky Blinders. They're all just so good at the moment. So I'd love to get into something like that, even like slightly more serious in a way. I think that would be a really cool thing to do. I just think that it's at such a high standard at the moment that it's a really good thing to get into.
100%. And I'm sure everyone is watching TV. If they're not watching film, they're watching TV
Yeah,
at the moment. Like you said, like there's so many amazing shows, and you know you could be the next Cillian. I see the next Cillian Murphy. So like a true Peaky Blinders in our midst. So you're talking about like all these amazing TV shows that you're watching, and I know that you're like a film buff. Like you know your films and you know your
total
TV.
cinephile.
You 100% are, like 100%. So if you take anything away from this interview that I'm doing with Ferdia, he is an expert when it comes to film and TV. So I have to ask, what are your favorite films?
My favorite film is The Godfather Part Two. It's excellent. Like you know, it's kind of a tie between number one and two because they're just as good. Marlon Brando is excellent in the first one, and I love just kind of the flashbacks in the second one. I think that really adds a good element to it. I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, especially the originals. I love The Empire Strikes Back. I think that was a huge step up in film when they started. Yeah, like those would be my favorites. And then there's like I love Blade Runner. I love loads of Harrison Ford movies actually. Indiana Jones, like,
Well,
yeah,
yeah, I met Harrison Ford, so you know that's all
I know. I was so jealous.
I met Harrison Ford because I was lucky enough to go to his premiere of Call of the Wild, and I got a text from Ferdia straight after the photograph went up and was like, "What?"
Have you seen Blade Runner, actually?
I haven't. I'm
That's
very
one for you
ashamed.
to watch because it's unbelievable.
I Ferdia gave me so many good recommendations while we were filming, so I educated myself. I watched Rick and Morty for Ferdia
Yeah.
Shaw. Just saying. And season 4 is coming out on Netflix very soon. So look what you've done to me. You've created a monster. So well done.
Yeah.
So you are also, you talk about in your interviews when you say what your favorite room is in Fowl Manor, which is incredible. You say that it's your Artemis's bedroom. And
Yep.
one of the coolest thing about Artemis's bedroom, I think, not only like the cool Lego and everything, but all the books on the bookshelves are books that you love and have read. So Ferdia's done a lot of reading, if you can't tell, from like the library in Fowl Manor and his bedroom in Fowl Manor. Ferdia likes to read. So what are some of your favorite books? Like what kind of books do you like to read?
Well, my personal favorite, like up there with Artemis, is the Enemy book series. It's unbelievable, and it's not actually that well known. Like
I haven't heard of it. So this is something I should.
So it's really good. What it's like is it's a zombie book series, and everyone over the age of 16 in it turns into a zombie. Okay, so it's like a post-apocalyptic world. But it's really good in the way that it's kind of Gamesy Throne-ish. In the way that they kill off their main characters all the time. So you're always kind of like rooting for the ones that you want to get through, but not all of them do, and that kind of adds a risk factor to it. So yeah, I remember the last book coming out, and it's like watching the last season of a series.
I love that. Okay,
yeah.
That's definitely checking out. Okay, so my next question is, if you could bring any books to life, which ones would it be and why? So would Enemy be one of them, or are there any other books that you would love to bring to life that you would love to act in or create?
Well, to bring to life, if like into real life, would be Harry Potter, obviously. I think everyone wants to see Harry Potter in real life. Like,
I mean, it's so obvious.
Yeah, I think The Enemy would make a really good TV show, though. So that would be really cool. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So you heard it. So when Ferdia is like the main character in this, you know what he did. And my next question was actually, if you could live in any fictional world, what would it be and why? And I'm going to take it as Harry Potter.
Yeah.
100%. That's
totally.
We all knew.
That's pretty easy.
I mean, if you didn't want to go live in Hogwarts, then I don't know what's wrong with you. So then I have a lot of questions. You got a lot of questions from many, many, many people. One question that like a lot of people ask, and I can see them asking here, is how old you are. I know how old you are, but the people want to know, Ferdia.
I'm 16 this month. So the 29th of June. So I'm nearly there.
Mark it in your calendars, folks. Ferdia's birthday.
Happy days.
So yeah, I couldn't get over how many times people ask that question. So you all know now. You all know. This is the gossip. Ferdia is almost 16.
Huge.
I mean,
Hey,
calm
this is the
down.
big thing in this interview. Like, don't worry about the other stuff.
Is
Just
anything to take
worry
away?
about my age.
Is there anything to take away? So I have one question that you got asked was from 2018 Feelings, and they asked, did you keep any props or the suit?
I didn't keep the suit, but I did get to keep a one wheel, which was really, really cool. Because I did a lot of that on set, and I got really used to it. So I used to take it for walks with my dog. It was really cool for that. I drove it into a gate recently, so it's actually awaiting repairs at the moment. I took a really big chip out of the front of it. So I have to get new boards. They're kind of slides that you put on. But yeah, I'll get it done.
You'll be grand. Sure,
Yeah.
to be grand. So then another question that I got asked was, how did you find out that you had gotten the part of Fowl?
I found out early in the morning. It was a phone call. Yeah, like amazing. I came down. It was literally I had just gotten out of bed, and I came down into the kitchen and got the phone call. Like as soon as I came down.
And how did you react when you found out? That was another question that a lot of people wanted to know.
I like, I think people can imagine how you would act if you found out that you've gotten a part in a Disney film.
No,
Like,
it's not take on the shoulder.
Yeah, you
I
got
remember,
mental, really.
oh, definitely. But like, I remember when I think you and I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure you and I found out on the same day. But something that a lot of people don't know is that when Ferdia found out he got Artemis and I found out I got Holly, neither of us were told who Artemis or Holly were going to be. So we knew we'd gotten it, but we had no idea who we were going to be with. And I just remember I had an idea that it was Ferdia, and my mum and I were convinced that it was you, and you and your mum thought it was me. And I remember Ferdia and I have each other, and we have each other's phone number, and messaging each other and being like, "So how are you?
How's it going?"
I'm pretty good. How are you? Yeah, but too. Yeah. Any news? Yeah, a bit of news. How about you? Yeah, a bit of news. And that was, we never officially were like, oh my gosh, you got that. We literally were like, yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Thanks, and how are you doing? So there's a little fun story for you. And unfortunately, guys, I'm actually going to ask you one more question, because a lot of people have been asking this question. And that was, like, how did you get into acting? And do you have any advice for people who also want to get into acting?
So the way I got into acting was I got involved with like little drama pieces in Kilkenny, where it was just small, but I was just doing like little roles. I also took part in Young Irish Filmmakers, which is like an after schools project that I do. But it's really creative, because you get to do all the aspects of film. You write your own scripts, you direct them, you edit them. So that really got me into doing the filming part of it. And then just going for auditions. My first one was for Avatar 2, which I didn't get. I did shit. Like, it was terrible. I tried to put on an American accent, and it just didn't go well at all. But yeah, the second one was Artemis, and I got it. Like, so advice-wise,
like, there you go. Like, you didn't think you did well when it came to auditioning for Avatar 2, and then your next audition, you're in it. So I think that's definitely a message for anyone who wants to pursue acting.
Just go for everything.
Go for everything, and every time you get a no, it just means that the next yes will be more special. So never be disappointed. And that's something to learn from this. Well, Ferdia, thank you so very, very much for talking to me.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for coming. And I should be talking to you soon. So thank you very much. And goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. So everyone, that was Ferdia Shaw. And I really hope you enjoyed the little interview. I've never interviewed anyone before, believe it or not, being my 16-year-old self. That is not something I do on the regular where I interview people. But I had a lot of fun because I absolutely adore Tamara and Ferdia. And we've known each other for a very long time. So it was so much fun to get to talk to them. And I hope you loved hearing us talk about the film and different aspects of film and everything that's going on. I hope you enjoyed it. So now I'm afraid you're stuck with me for about another 10 minutes. Just boring old me. So sorry. I can only apologize. But so if you have any questions, shoot them at me because I'm here all on my lonesome. I've been abandoned by the two of them actually. So no, I haven't. Bless them. They're so sweet for both coming on. I asked them and they immediately said yes, because we are so excited to talk to you guys about Artemis because it was so much fun to do. So getting to talk about it, I think that's something that we were all really disappointed that we didn't get to do with the press junket, was we didn't all get to sit in a room together and talk about all our fun memories. So to get to do it on here and for all of you guys to get to hear how much fun we had, it is so lovely. So thank you all much for tuning in. So I have over 100 questions filled up here, which is insane. So a question that I've seen a lot on my comments and my posts as well is did I cut my hair for the part, or did I get anything done with my hair for the part? I did actually. I used to have very long hair. If anyone's seen my photos from when I was in Matilda musical, which I have the poster behind me, I had long hair like the way I do now. And then when it came to Artemis in the books, Holly is described as having a pixie cut, so we definitely wanted to stay true to what Holly looked like, and that's such an iconic part of her in all of the graphic novels. In every drawing or any take on her, she always has a pixie cut, so that was so important. And I was offered, if I didn't want to cut my hair, that was fine, they'd get a wig or something, but I immediately said I wanted to cut my hair because it would help me embody Holly and I really wanted to stay true to who she was. So I chopped all of my hair off and you guys get to see the pixie cut that I did have. I had it all throughout filming. And I had it for a very long time. It's taken me a long time to grow out. But I loved it. I mean, easiest thing to wash ever. So if you're sick of like having long hair, get a pixie cut because I mean it's hair, it will grow back and it's so freeing and so cool to do. And I'm so happy that I get to say and get to show pictures and been like, oh yeah, that's when I had a pixie cut, because it was so much fun to have and it's so easy to manage. To everyone who has long hair, oh my goodness, it's so amazing. You don't have to worry about the wind getting in it or anything. I mean, it's just fantastic. Holly Short is my favorite Artemis fairy. Thank you very much. Well, I'm saying thank you. I play her, but I mean, like, Holly's my favorite character too because I'm really biased. Did you watch Stranger Things? Yes, I have watched Stranger Things. I watched Stranger Things like the minute it came out just because I was so excited to see it. Millie Bobby Brown is phenomenal, as is the rest of the cast, and I cannot wait for season 4, which we will hopefully see very soon. But I love Stranger Things. It's fantastic. Do you like Agatha Christie? I do love Agatha Christie. I'd never read any Agatha Christie books, unfortunately. I'm really sad to say, but I'd always loved Sherlock Holmes, and I loved Scooby-Doo growing up. I feel like anybody who loved Scooby-Doo will continue to love like murder mysteries. So if you're looking for anything good to watch, Sherlock is on Netflix, and so is Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries, which is an amazing Australian murder mystery show. And then when it came to when I was auditioning for Artemis Fowl, Murder on the Orient Express, which Kenneth Branagh directed and starred as Hercule Poirot in, it had just come out. So I went to see it because I was so excited to go and watch it. And immediately I fell in love with the film. I have the DVD. I've watched it a million times. And after that, I decided I was going to read every Hercule Poirot novel that there is. So I absolutely adore Agatha Christie. I have never read any Miss Marple stories, but I think I've read 90% of Hercule Poirot stories, and I'm so excited for Death in the Nile to come out, which is the new Kenneth Branagh Hercule Poirot film, and it has an amazing cast. For all of you who love Sex Education, Emma Mackey is the main character in it. If you love Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot is a main character in it. If you love Call Me by Your Name, Armie Hammer is in Death on the Nile. I mean, the cast in this film is phenomenal. Russell Brand, Annette Bening, Jennifer Saunders. I mean, like, the cast is phenomenal. And of course, Kenneth Branagh heading it all, directing and starring as Hercule Poirot. So that's definitely something that I would be looking out for, I have to say. Okay, I'm scrolling through your questions. See, everybody's freaking out now about Call Me By Your Name. See, Army Hammer. Keep a lookout. What's your favorite Artemis Fowl book scene? That's a very good question. I have to say something that I'm really sad about is that we unfortunately, like, the film has changed a lot since when we filmed it, and unfortunately one of my favorite characters is Foley, and my favorite scenes in the book are of Holly and Foley. I mean, the banter and the friendship between them is fantastic, and the same going for when I was with Nikesh, who played Foley. He was so incredibly lovely, and we had the best time in all our scenes together because we got on so well. And Foley and Holly, I think personally, I think Foley and Holly, they don't really have any friends outside of each other, so I think they're the first like real friends that each other have. So that's definitely something. All of my favorite scenes I'd say in the book are with Foley and Holly. Another one of my favorite scenes in the book, though, is when Holly punches Artemis, because getting to film that was cool enough. So even reading about it, like just reliving the moment where I punched Ferdia, I mean, beautiful. Ferdia is great, really. I promise. What's your favorite Marvel character? That's such a good question. My favorite Marvel character, I have so many. My favorite Marvel movies of like all time. My favorite Marvel movie of all time, like, is Guardians of the Galaxy. I love that movie so much. I love Chris Pratt. I like the cast is amazing. It's hilarious. It's such a good movie. And I mean the soundtrack. I love 80s music. That is my favorite. Like, I love 80s music, so the soundtrack is amazing. But my favorite character and my second favorite like favorite Marvel movie is and of course Baby Groot. I just saw a comment about Baby Groot. Baby Groot is my favorite thing in the whole world. But my second favorite Marvel film is Doctor Strange. If I had to have any of the Marvel like powers, I would want to like be able to do the mystical arts. I think that's so cool. I love everything magic and everything like that, so 100% I would want to have Doctor Strange's powers. But to answer your question, after a very long-winded answer, my favorite character would have to be Black Widow. She is so cool. I'm so excited for the Black Widow movie. So definitely Black Widow. What about Thor? I love the Thor movies, especially the first one, because Sir Kenneth Branagh directed it. And I mean, I love the Thor movies, and the first one is my absolute favorite of all three of them. They're all incredible, but the first one's my favorite. I just saw a question there that says Baby Yoda or Baby Groot. Baby Groot, 100%. I love Star Wars, but Baby Groot, I mean, come on. He dances to Mr. Blue Sky. Come on. I mean, we can't. Can you argue with that? Like, sure, Baby Yoda's cute and all, but like, he dances. Come on, guys. Come on. So I have a few questions here, and someone asked me, is this my first movie? Was Artemis Fowl my first movie? And some of you may not know, but it is not my first movie. It is my first big movie. Definitely. I mean, I can't compete with that. I've never been in a Disney film before, believe it or not. It is my first big movie, but it's not the first movie that I've ever done. I have actually done... This is my fourth movie that I've done. And the first film that I ever did was a film called Love, Rosie, which stars Lily Collins and Sam Claflin. It's based on the Cecilia Ahern book called When Rainbows End. And it's such a lovely film. It's a great rom-com if you're looking for something to watch. I'm not sure if it's on Netflix or not anymore, but it's a lovely film to watch. And I played a young Rosie. I am in one scene, and I thought it was great. And I immediately knew when I walked onto the set that this is what I wanted to do. I loved the environment. I absolutely adored it. So I knew that was when I was 9. I was like, this is what I want to do. And the second film that I did was right after Matilda. It's a film called To Walk Invisible, which is about the Bronte sisters, who are some of the most famous female writers of all time. If you don't know who they are so incredibly famous. They were sisters. They were all writers, and they actually all wrote their books under male names because they didn't think that, well, they were right. Female books written by women wouldn't sell, so they all wrote their names under anagrams. And I played a young Anne Bronte. I actually had a blonde wig. I am obviously not blonde, but I wore a blonde wig. And that was the second film I ever did. The third film I ever did was called The Delinquent Season with Cillian Murphy. I played his daughter, which was so cool, and he's so lovely. And at the time, I was so young, I had never seen Peaky Blinders. And then a couple of years later, after I'd shot the film, I watched Peaky Blinders and could not believe that this incredibly nice guy who played my dad, who was so lovely to me, was, a Peaky Blinder. So definitely, this is not my first film. It is my first big film, but it is not my first film. Would you ever dye your hair blonde? I'm terrified to think of what that would look like. I don't even want to know. That's the stuff of nightmares, is all I can say. I don't know what that would look like. What's your age? I got that question quite a few times on my other answers, on my other questions as well. Sorry. I have the loss of the ability to speak. I got that question a lot. I'm 16. I'm turning 17 in November, but as of right now, I'm 16 years old. So I have loads of questions here, so I'm going to go from here, and I will keep looking up to see your questions. You look amazing, blonde. No, I would not. We don't want to know. What is your spirit animal? I have no idea. I've never really been good at like keeping track at all of that, but I personally think I would be an owl. Don't know why. That's just how I feel. Don't know if you agree or not, but I feel like I'm an owl. Like a really chatty, loud owl. What was it like to go through stunt training? It was so much fun. I had never done any stunt training before. So to get to do this on a Disney film and playing one of my favorite characters, to get to do stunt training with an incredible stunt team was so much fun. I had the most amazing time. I got to learn so many new skills. I got to learn kickboxing, self-defense, gymnastics, and of course I'm now a certified wire artist, which is crazy to think about. But I learned how to fly, which I feel like is everybody's dream at one point, is to fly, and I got the opportunity to do that. So I absolutely loved it, and I still see people asking. I did have a stunt double. Her name is Christina, and she is one of my favorite people in the whole world. I absolutely love her. And I'm thinking, did you do all of your own stunts? I did a lot of my own stunts. I did not do all of them. I will not take credit for all of them, simply because I'm not a trained stunt artist. I did a lot of training, but I'm not a trained stunt artist, and at the time I was only 14, so there are some stunts that were just simply too dangerous for me to do. So my amazing stunt double Christina did them for me, which I'm very thankful for. But I was really lucky, and in my training I was actually trying to do the majority of my stunts. So I would say about 90% of them. I did a lot of them, and they were so much fun to do. Can Ferdia actually surf? He can. He's fantastic at it. In the film, some of it is him and some of it is somebody else. But he took up surfing after he filmed those scenes, and he's great at it. Like Ferdia is multi-talented. He's an incredible individual, and he's amazing. He's so talented. He would never say this, but I'm fangirling over him. He is so incredibly talented. So just in case for some reason you thought otherwise, Ferdia is incredible. How is it flying? Oh my goodness, so much fun. Definitely one of my favorite. I have 1 minute left. Okay, send in your questions quickly. So definitely it was amazing. One of my favorite memories from flying actually was, most of the time when I'd be flying inside a studio, which is just as cool, do not get me wrong. But one of my favorite memories is, there's a scene in the film, and it's not really a big spoiler, but there's a scene in the film where Holly lands at the Hill of Tara, and there's this beautiful oak tree, and she lands, and that is actually me, which was so much fun to film. And that scene was actually filmed outside in a forest, and I was up 50 feet high, and I got to glide in and land on this hill that they had built with a tree, and that was so cool. The wind was blowing in my hair, and when I was sitting up there waiting for them to roll, I could see all of the trees and the scenery around me, and it was beautiful. And that was such a surreal moment, to be sitting up there above the entire cast and crew, looking out at the film set, and then getting to glide in, feeling like as if I was actually flying, with the wind blowing in my pixie hair and my ears. That was definitely a very, very surreal but cool moment. I'm looking through your questions. I have 40 seconds remaining. Okay, so send in, if you have any questions that I have not answered yet, send them in right now, because they're 30 seconds. Okay. What are some of your favorite books? I love all types of books. That's a quick question that I'll answer when I'm waiting for more to come in. I absolutely love, I'm a huge book reader, so I of course love Artemis, Fowl. I love Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Percy Jackson, and then I also love classics like The Great Gatsby, 1984, The Goldfinch. I love I'm a huge book reader and I love so many books. Okay, so I'm looking at my time, 5 seconds remaining. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much and goodbye.